We are live. So, Holly Fairley, is that correct?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
Holly Fairley. Well, look, welcome along to the How to Cut It in the Hairdressing Industry podcast. Holly, you just told me this is your
Thank you.
first podcast
It is
recording.
my first. Yeah, I'm so excited. So excited.
Well, we are really excited. I'm really looking forward to this one, Holly, because the girls at LWP are Hannah, and she said you must get Holly onto the podcast. You know, her social media has blown up, and I don't know, probably on last count I've got this wrong, but did I see that you had around about 240,000 on TikTok followers,
I
60,000
actually
on
don't know.
Instagram?
Yeah, something like that.
But
It
that's really
doesn't. It
mental,
always
isn't it?
depends.
Because you kind
It
of
is
sit there.
crazy.
You kind of say, well, I don't know. I mean, I think in the early days we're almost a little bit obsessed by it. But
Oh, 100%. I would be pulling the screen down, like refreshing, like, oh my God, is there another one? Oh, there's two. Yeah,
well,
it was
that's
obsessive in the
interesting.
beginning.
Yeah, well, look, I tell you what, we're gonna dive into social, how you've blown up really, and what can we learn from you? Maybe what can't we learn? Maybe what are there things there that you'd probably say, well, look, do this right. And there will be honest questions here,
Hmm.
because there is, as we all know, Holly, there's quite a divide there now on social, and
Yeah,
with the rise of hair industry influencers. So there are things there that probably people want to know. How authentic are you? And what are
yeah.
you doing to do this? What's the realities behind your success? Is there burnout? And but the thing first up, but that we need to get on, you are a salon owner, aren't you?
Yes, I work from home. I did used to have a salon that I owned with someone else just before lockdown. Actually, I think we had it for about 7 years. And then after a few years of IVF, I had two small children and decided that I didn't want the salon anymore, wanted to just maybe give up work. I'm not sure. And then obviously COVID hit. So then after we were allowed back out, everyone needed their hair done. And that's what was like, oh, are you doing anyone? Can I have a T section, if anything? And then yeah, just sort of tumbleweeded back into working and now just by myself.
So how is life working from home in your own salon based
Hmm.
at home? What's that experience like?
Um, it is. Do you know what? I actually really hated it in the beginning. I really, really, really struggled because I feel I really enjoy from the salon the social part. I think that's why hairdressing for me, I still genuinely still love it to this day. And I think it was a really hard one where I was unsure, should I maybe go and rent a chair in a salon because I can't deal with being by myself. Just for like extra support as well. And I don't know, if you're having a shit day, being like, you come in a bit stroppy, have the moan and not give the moan to your clients, where now the clients just get the moan. So
Do you find it
it did take
lonely
a.
though? Do you find that experience lonely, even though you're with clients? Because I do hear this with the independent,
Mm,
hairstylists. They'll say, I do miss that company sometimes of team, and certainly like on social, we're out there in a screen, but we're not actually interacting with people, that are in our
yeah.
industry. What would you say to that?
I think that it's just it takes a lot of getting used to. I've always, other than like now, obviously working at home, I'd always been in salon, so I never ever really been. I mean, I did a little bit of mobile for a few months, but other than that, always been in. So it was a really big thing to get used to, and I think now I think I'm okay with it. I don't know if that's because I'm busier at work now, so that helps. I'm seeing more faces more regularly, and life just feels a bit busier. But before, when I wasn't as busy and I had like the gaps, or maybe just one client a day or something like that, that's when I was struggling with it. But I think there's so much more to work in general now that I don't feel the loneliness as much.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a big thing coming up, and I always find it interesting. But look, let's learn about a little bit about yourself, and
Yeah.
you are described as a color transformation expert and a blonde AF balayage educator, right? That's what I've read, and I've looked into it. But what is it that actually qualifies you to sort of put yourself out there, one as an educator in this, and as
Hmm.
an expert who's delivering online workshops and in-person events?
Um, uh, Good question. I actually am not 100% sure. I think that for me, I got into education because I felt like there was so much that I could share, and there was things about educational classes that I'd been on that I didn't necessarily like or relate to very well. I think that everyone learns very differently, and I get bored very quickly. I don't like the sit down, the boring, the blah, things like that. So for me, I think that was definitely something where I thought, God, like this is just not fun. I want to make something fun, and I really don't feel that I've been on any education class that have been really personal. And some people don't like that. I do. I like all or nothing. So if in my education classes, like, we're gonna sort of be like, I act like everyone's my friend because that's what makes me feel comfortable. So I think I just felt like there was a bit of a gap in the market maybe, and I've been hairdressing quite a long time now, and I wanted a little bit more than just being behind the chair and feel a little bit more fulfilled. That's why I got into it. Getting into it with like the transformations and the blonding techniques and things, I think it was just more that I drifted into that because that was more of the videos that I was putting out. So because that was more content that was getting pushed out, I'm getting more of those clients in. So that service became quite a big service, and lots of mistakes that I was making during that service in the beginning, like not being able to blend properly and having dodgy lines and not lifting correctly and all of that stuff that I cover in the class. I think that was where I managed to find little ways to perfect it, that most of the time I get it, because we all get it wrong sometimes, that I thought I want to help someone else, because again, working for myself, that and being by myself, like we just spoke about, I think it's so important, even more so, to do more education, because we can fall into dodgy little traps, or we've not got the stylist next to us checking out the blow dry from the back and seeing it's a little bit shit, but the customer can't see it from the front. So I think it's just really important to do a lot of education working by yourself, I think.
So, what was your background before you became the social, uh, the hair industry influencer, the independent salon owner that you are? So, what's your background that's led you to where you are?
It's probably not as exciting as you're expecting.
No, but that's why I want to
I,
find out, because
I
a lot of people will say, look, people that are educating, the
mhm.
quality, what is the quality? Are we making sure that we're delivering? And people want to know what has led you to become the expert that you are. So that background and training, I guess, helps shape you become the person that you are.
Yeah, so do you mean background as in like where I sort of started working and things
Yeah,
like
you
that?
don't have to go too into detail, but yeah,
hmm
where have you worked? What's led you to where you are?
So I went to college, I trained at college, and then when I was there, I was in my first salon that I worked in. I was there for about 9 years. Left there, opened a salon of my own with a friend that I mentioned to you earlier, and had that for about 7 years. Then took a break whilst I had two more children, and then went back after COVID. And it was, I think, because working by yourself and for yourself, if you don't push work, you're not going to get work. And it's not like working in a salon where you walk in, you walk in, walk out, there's no extra work behind the scenes, and you're just walking in and doing your column and then going home. The work sort of given to you almost, where if everything that you're sending out is representing yourself, and you have to find the work to bring it in, you have to work so much harder. And that's what I had experienced when my youngest children started school. I had so much free time. Before, I was just working evenings and on a Saturday, and I had no clients. I didn't know how to fill the daytime spaces, and that's when that led me to the social media journey, because I was stuck.
So,
And
so you've kind of gone there, and I know, and I full respect you, because you have to balance such a busy life. We see the glamorous, Holly that sits there, but you're the mum. You've got a business. There's a home. There's a lot of things going on there, and I really like how somebody like yourself, and please take this. You haven't gone through a Sassoon, scholarship or anything. You
no.
really are kind of a real working hairstylist. But I guess the tools of social media has
hmm
what's changed that. So if you
yeah,
didn't have social media, what would your career look like now?
God knows, the same as it did before. I mean, before I was on social media, it would be like recommended clients. I do so and so's mum, or I do the kids in between putting a colour on. So I suppose, I mean, there's nothing wrong with working like that, but I just wanted and needed to be busier. So I guess it would look really different. Maybe I wouldn't have got into education. Maybe I mean, there was a time where I was looking at, should I go and teach in a college? Do I want to do that? But, set working hours wasn't really an option for me at the time because of the children. So maybe getting into education would have happened much later because of those not being able to work when I needed to or when I wanted to.
So you talk about your education, your online courses, and your in-person events. How successful are they?
So every class has got bigger. I think that I never expected to do as many so quickly. So since the beginning of the year, I've done one pretty much every month, and they've all sold out. And yeah, like it's been a little bit crazy, really unexpected, but yeah.
So, and I guess that's where I come from. And no disrespect here, I don't mean this. And
No.
if you're not years before social media, I guess you would have
Mhm.
had to have pages in, industry magazines. You would have had
Yeah.
award-winning titles. But now
Yeah.
we're in this landscape where the rise of the hair industry influencer is enabling these opportunities. Is
Absolutely.
is that for the good of the industry? Do you believe?
I think so because, not everyone can, I mean, maybe pay to get into a really good hairdressing school, or or they might not have the money to be taught by someone that's a big name in magazines, or whatever those opportunities might look like. I think that and also actually I think that before I used to think that the standard successful hairdresser would look a certain way, like would look really smart, very presentable, and all of that sort of thing, where being able to use social media means that you can just put yourself out there. Now, I know that I won't be for everyone, but there will be some people that do like me, don't. And I think by being normal, being yourself, and being able to use social media, you're able to attract the clients that want to come to you for those reasons. And also being able to, like, for a client to be able to choose you because they can see somewhat of what your personality is like online. So they might think, oh, actually, no, she's not for me because that's too much, So social media opens up so many doors that I think lots of people aren't even aware of.
Yeah, just actually, we're talking about social media. What's your Instagram and TikTok handles, just so people could go and have a look at this?
Good question. Off the top of my I'm actually so bad at it. Off the top of my head, I think that Instagram is underscore Rio hair underscore, and I believe that TikTok is Rio hair underscore HF underscore or something like that. I
Okay,
really
well,
should know that off my
we'll
heart.
make sure we put the right ones
Maybe
in a link. But that's actually an interesting point. It is a question,
yeah.
and we will go even deeper into stuff on social media. But there is another question I need to ask you before we go into that.
Okay.
But actually, are you having somebody then manage your social media?
Yes, so now I do. I took on someone to help me actually a year ago yesterday. It was a year. Basically, it was all getting quite a lot, like replying to comments, and I was getting a lot of personal messages, and I didn't want to miss things that people were starting to try and book in online. So I took someone on, and I remember the call with her and said, I don't know what I need, I just need some help. And that's tumbleweeded, and she just helps with like inquiries. She set me up to be a lot more organized, should I say. So we have inquiry forms, and she talks to customers, books them in, and things like that. And last week I took on a second person to help with social media posting and keep an eye on things, and yeah, things
So
like that.
how does that work then, Holly? In terms of, let's just say you create one of your videos that you will see on
Yeah.
your grid. Do you just hand that over to the person that is managing your social media content and then let them take care of it?
Ish. So you can, there's opportunity, you can give like raw footage to someone and they can edit it and stuff. I've tried that before and it's never worked for me personally. I think I'm quite fussy where I always want it to be my style and how I like it to be. I think it always comes across a bit chaotic, and I like that. It's the sort of thing that I'd want to watch, that kind of thing. So that's what I put out. I know it's not for everyone. But so at the moment, it's very new to me with the new girl that's come on with us. But I send her the edited stuff that just literally needs to be posted, and she will make sure it goes up at whatever time we've decided. And she just really just sort of keeps an eye on the DMs. Have I replied to everyone? Is there any requests in there? Or she can reply to simple comments on like, what comb is that? Or you know, what make is your hairdryer or something like that. So just like general comments that I don't think people realize how much time that really does take. And it's so important to reply to everyone that's commenting, because they're taking the time to comment on your stuff. You need to, you know, be appreciative and take the time to comment back. But it does build up and it is a lot of work. So in order to stay on top of it, now it's getting busier, I needed to take on someone else.
So what kind of budget do you have to put aside for this sort of stuff, though?
I mean, I think it can totally vary. I had got quotes of different people over the last few months. I think it can be anything up to like £1,000 a month, maybe more. Depends how much work you want that person to do. Like I said, I don't have anyone edit my stuff. I think if I did it, because that does take so much time, it would be a lot higher than that.
So how do you? I mean, what sort of strain does that put on you? Or I guess my question probably should be: is are you funding being able to support this through your education? Have you got brand deals? Are you monetizing yourself on TikTok through all the views? Maybe you could just enlighten us a bit on that.
Yeah, so since when I reached 10,000 followers on TikTok, that was the first like passive income that I had made. So from then I earn now on most of my videos, as long as they are over a minute long. They're all different types of figures. It could be £20 a video, it could be £2 a video, it could be £500 a video. It totally depends on the engagement and the views
So
and
how
where they
does
come
that?
from.
Sorry, I jumped in there because this is
That's
really
okay.
interesting. I was talking to my son about, people that are earning TikTok. So just to go back on that, you have to
Yeah.
have over 10,000 followers. Did you say?
Yeah, so you have to, when you reach 10,000 followers, you then have to apply to the Creator Fund, and you have to have had, I mean, it was ages ago I did it, but a certain amount of views in like 90 days or 30 days or something, I believe. And then if you qualify, then every video that's over a minute then will qualify to be, yeah, you can be paid for it.
Right. So was that quite exciting in the early
Yeah.
days? Because I kind of get now you're kind of quite blasé to it almost. It's
Yeah.
like you don't even check. I mean, do you just wait for money to come into the bank account? And would
No,
you be
it's
quite
not even.
transparent in maybe
Yeah, no.
sharing
So
what you would kind of?
with the money side of it, it earns. So one video, if I posted a video today, it earns for up to 30 days, and then it stops earning, stays there for another 30 days, and then you can take the money out after. So really, from say your first earning videos, it's sort of like 60 days. Now I get a payout every single month. You have to apply to have it withdrawn, but it literally comes out within like minutes. So you just press like withdraw and that's it. So that
So what's
is
been
very
your
long.
best earner? What's your best earner? Can I ask that, or is that
Of
again
course
too
you can.
personal?
I'm trying to think now. Do you know what? Every time I put my teenager on there, she does really, really well. I don't know if it's a mix of like, obviously we're all biased with our children. I think she's absolutely stunning. But I don't normally have like young teenagers on there. I don't know if it's like, you know, an aesthetic thing, or because of how we are with each other. Like, I think I'm quite different with her to what I would be with clients, because I'm not getting paid for doing her hair, and she's fussy as teenagers are. So I don't know if it's like the communication between us both that people are like, that's really rude. Why are you talking to a customer like that? And then obviously they find out it's my daughter. I'm not sure if that's what it is, but yeah, every time she seems to do quite well. So I think probably the best one I've done is like £950 of one
Okay.
video.
On one video. So you can understand why we are getting drawn into the social landscape, and
Yeah.
because people will say, well, I can earn money. What about the creator shop? Have you endured, be affiliating yourself with products to sell on TikTok?
What do you mean, like me?
Yeah, you can sign up as a
The shop
creator
one.
affiliator. Yeah, so you can then just shout out certain products, and then you'll
Yeah.
get paid on a commission on a product that you're endorsing.
If I'm honest, I do have it set up, but I don't utilize things as much as I could, because again, it's a lot more videos. It is a lot more work. In the beginning, I was posting 3 videos a day. And I don't do that anymore. I couldn't keep up with that. So I don't really monetize that as much as I could. The shop link is there. So if people want to see the products that I like, they are there, but I don't I mean, I can't even remember when I would have last did a video to
Yeah.
recommend it.
So when you do your videos, then Holly,
Hmm.
that you talk about, there's a lot of your color transformations, color, and then there's stuff with your daughter, and there's a lot of Who is it aimed at? That's probably my question. So when you're doing a video, are you thinking to yourself, I need just big views on this? So the bigger views is going to come, I guess, from the business to consumer side, maybe, because that's where you get more. Where if it's business to business,
Hmm.
what's your thinking process when you're doing this? What is the purpose of that video?
Probably not what you expect because I don't enjoy social media as a whole, as in I'm not one that sits there and scrolls for hours. I just don't. I think I was someone before that would get sucked into those holes of, oh well, I don't look like that and I don't have that, and it makes you feel, and it can feel for a lot of people, makes you feel a bit shit because we're always comparing ourselves to other people. So I don't spend a lot of time on it personally, and I don't really think of videos like that when I'm putting them up. I don't. I mean, there might be
I find
the
it
only
mad
thought.
that here you are, a hair industry influencer with a massive following. Excuse me, I just dropped that.
That's okay.
With a massive following, and you're not actually that into it.
No, I just, do you know what? I just don't, I'm not, like we said about in the beginning, like I used to refresh the page and I was so like, oh my God, could this happen? Because, I wanted the extra earning and things, but I, it's not the numbers genuinely, like as much as I appreciate them because they have opened a lot of opportunities for me, I'm not like, oh my God, that I've got this many followers. Like, I don't know how I'm meant to be, if I'm honest. If anyone asked me, I would just say, I am just normal. I'm a mum of three. I do 3 school runs a day. I'm doing the packed lunches. Like, I'm just normal. And having that followers, yes, helps, but it's not everything to me. Without that sounding like I don't appreciate it.
Mm. What would you say then to people? And I love honesty. I love people being who they are. They're not being anything else. But there'll be people that will look on your account and say, "God, she's swearing in front of clients." You know, what sort of image is that representing to the industry? Is that giving a bad image to the industry? What would your reply be to that?
I think it's a good point. For me, like I swear, and I'm not gonna not swear in front of my clients or to my clients or whatever because I'd find that more difficult. And also you're spending like hours with these people. If I can't be myself for hours, then it's going to be really difficult. And it our space that we work, this sounds really corny, but it does have to be a safe space for us first. So I think that yes, it may not open as many opportunities for me, or I might not gain as many followers or clients because I swear. However, there will be people that want to come to me for their hair because I am just normal. And there are a lot of people out there, most of us, that will say the odd shit or fuck. And it just comes out, especially if you're talking about something really passionately, or I don't know. I just can't help it. And I would rather my clients become more of a friend than just a client. I'm not saying I go out for drinking regularly or anything with clients, but I want to get to know them really like properly and talk about real stuff because then I enjoy working and hopefully they enjoy their hair, but it's more enjoyable for me. So I swear, I don't know. I can't help it, and I don't do it on purpose. Maybe I
So
should
that
stop more, but I
isn't
just
saying that
can't.
you will stand there and actually think, "I'm going to add in, the
I'm gonna what?
swearing."
Sorry.
You you're not actually purposely stand there thinking to yourself, "I'm going to swear in these videos."
No, in fact, John, I stop myself a lot. There's a lot worse swear words that I sometimes would say, and I
Yeah.
could say, and I think that's a little bit much, so I
Do
don't
they
put it
get
in.
into? But look, I mean, swearing does. I mean, it takes huge amounts to shock me. I must admit, I don't
Yeah.
swear in the podcast or anywhere in
Mhm.
there because I always think of it may offend some people. That's
Yeah.
probably how I always feel. But I know I'm
Mhm.
probably more of a minority, and probably people say you're an old fart. But I just it seems that the swearing is just become part of normal language now, And whether that's a good thing or not, because I'm just thinking, if I had my salon head on as a salon
Mm-hmm.
boss, because I'm a hairdresser, but I'm not a salon, but would I want my team swearing it in front of clients? My
Mm.
answer would be
No.
no. If you had a
Yeah.
salon with team, would you be happy for them to be swearing?
So I feel like it depends in what capacity, because when you were saying that, I'm thinking, well, I'm not going fucking hell like across the salon. It's not like that. It would be like, oh, I don't know. Oh my God, James really fucking pissed me off this morning. Something like that, right? Now, that is for me a normal thing to say. I'm not shouting it across the salon, disrupting other conversations. That, yes, would be inappropriate, but it's not. I don't work with anyone
Hmm.
else. So I guess it's different to a salon environment. But even in a salon environment, if you're one on one talking with your customer, it's not being projected. I don't know. I feel like the way you were mentioning it for me was not how I see it. But listen, maybe it is portrayed
Yeah, no,
in a
I'm not.
different way. That.
I don't think there's, it's just personal taste. And if your clients are
Mm,
happy, it's just, I just think about, I guess, some salons that the bigger ones would
mm.
probably be really frown upon it. And I'm just
Yeah,
thinking,
of
if
course.
they're watching it, however, there's probably a much younger demographic who are much
Mhm.
more in tune with that. And maybe we as an industry become a bit too stuffy.
I think it's more about reading the room though as well. Like
Mm,
if I worked in a salon with loads of other girls and the salon was a bit quiet and no one else was talking to their customers, it was just me, I probably wouldn't be throwing as many F bombs, or I wouldn't be as relaxed,
I
because
get
it's
you.
not, like I said, they're not purposely put out. I just maybe wouldn't be as relaxed, or I'd be more mindful about my conversation being heard when there's other people that are potentially listening. But in a busy salon, if you've got 6 stylists, for example, all talking to their clients, the hair dryers are on, you're not going to hear me say the odd slip up of shit to a client. It's not, I'm not promoting it as we should all swear in the salon. Absolutely not. And I'm fully aware that it can come across as unprofessional, shall we say. But my videos are just put out to just be
Yeah, what are
me
they
in a
put out
salon.
for? Are they put out for the hairdresser? And that's probably, and I just jumped
Oh
in there.
yeah, sorry, I didn't
Are
I didn't
they
even
there
answer
for the
that.
hairdresser or are they there for the client?
Both. I think
I find that hard because, when
I
we
know.
say both,
Is that a cop out?
yeah, no, a lot of people say that, but I feel like if you are for the hairdresser, it has to be a
Yeah.
slightly different language, doesn't it? And it's the
Mm,
lines become blurred, doesn't it? I feel if I look at social influencers that are being really successful, they've
mm.
almost gone to content that is being served out to the client because it's a more broader um,
Yeah. No,
audience.
you're absolutely right. When I first started, all the content I put out was to customers, because that's what I needed to go on there for. I didn't have enough customers, so that's who I wanted to draw in. Then after that, I had switched and I wanted to go into the education. So a lot of my content was more for just hairdressers. And there was a big drop in engagement that I did notice when that happened. And then I just found it was all getting a lot, and editing and posting and commenting, and I wasn't enjoying it as much. So then I feel like I started to, and also actually getting used to doing the videos. So I started to get a bit more confident and relaxed. And I found that my humor came into it, or slipped in a little bit. And those were the things that people were picking up on. And I enjoy doing it more when I can have fun with it. So the reason I say both is because, or maybe neither, maybe just for my own enjoyment. I do like to do the voiceovers as my own stupid thoughts and personality, because then I enjoy editing them more.
What do you use to edit it? Because I think that's a question everybody loves to know. Do you edit
Hmm.
inside the app or do you use
No.
an external
I
app?
I use CapCut, and then I'll put it into the app, and then maybe put some text over it or something like that. I've always
Do you
found it
think it gets
easier.
punished then if you use say
Maybe.
CapCut? Yeah, I don't know. I wonder this, Holly, because if you're using CapCut in TikTok, that's okay because it's
Mhm,
owned by TikTok, isn't it? So if you're using the captions
mhm.
from CapCut, but I wonder, does it get punished if you then put that in? Is there something in the algorithm that it can read in those videos?
Possibly. I
I
think you're
don't
probably
know.
right. I think I heard, actually, I think it might have even been yesterday, that the algorithm has changed apparently on Instagram, and they've released their own app, I believe.
That's right. You can now edit with
Yes.
inside. the app, I believe.
Yeah, or this certain Instagram app or something, and then the content would be favored and pushed.
That's
There's
right,
so
because I'm
many
thinking
like.
there's got to be all the digital stuff
Mhm.
that goes behind videos. I kind of feel like that with AI as well. If you're,
Yeah,
I'm wondering if it can read all the billions of data
possibly.
that goes into it,
It
and I
wouldn't
wonder if that's,
surprise me.
whether we have to start thinking about our use of AI. Are you jumping on AI as well? Is that something that's coming to your
It's
life?
something that's definitely helped with inspiration for like, right, okay, how do I, like with marketing emails, it's so helpful with things like that. If I need to make something a bit longer, or actually, if I'm honest, in like my personal things, like I had some blood tests come through the other day and I was like, what the hell does that mean? And I just put it into AI and it told me. I was like, amazing. So I'm definitely using it more, but I think you have to train it a lot to be yourself, and then how much of yourself is it actually? Because then you become sort of lazier using your brain. Are you then less stimulated because you didn't have to? I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence with the old AI.
I love it, AI, if you use it
It's
right.
great. It is
Yeah, I
great,
think
but
you've got. I feel
it
like it's a
takes
bit like
over.
the early conversations of all this stuff. Oh, yeah, I won't get on it. I think it's how you use it, and I think it's what you
Yeah,
import that you get out. And like you, and if it's all making our life easier to help with copy and so forth, then
yeah,
that's got to be a good thing. It's here to stay,
yeah,
so it ain't going nowhere.
yeah.
That's for sure. When it comes to the where you're going to be posting your stuff again, is that
Mhm.
sync again you just hand over to your social media uh guru, and how do you plan it, or are you literally, oh, this will be a good video? What's that look like?
Um, it's become a little bit more organized. I try and stay on top of content, like banking it. So, one, not everyone wants to be filmed. So sometimes it's hard to get content with customers. We have to take that into consideration. But yeah, so I will just um, edit it and be like, right, how many have we got for this week? So now I do 5 posts a week on each platform. So it's 5 videos a week that I need. And it sounds maybe to someone quite hard, but you can reuse a lot of content in different ways. Long form content, you can take a lot from that and make lots of shorts and different things like that.
I guess you're sitting down even though you pass stuff off after you've edited, but
Yeah.
is quite a common part of your life that you do the school runs? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know your husband's there, but actually, do you have to find that time? And you're a busy hairdresser too,
Mhm.
because you're an independent hairstylist. So I know what that's like,
Yeah.
and that's a busy part of your life. Is that moment quite often at night when you're sat down watching TV? Is that how the editing life works?
Honestly, I wish I could tell you it's really structured. It's not. It's so scatty. So
That's what I mean,
if
though. Is it just grab it when you can?
100%. So I'm trying, like I mentioned, I'm trying to get more on top of it and be ahead of myself. But it can literally look like shit. I don't have anything to put up today
Do
or for
you worry
tomorrow.
about that?
Yeah, I do, because now it's part of my job, and I think that's how I have to look at it. I'm not like, there's nothing wrong with just I hate that just a hairdresser, but I'm not just behind the chair, should I say. Social media is part of my job because I earn from that. So I could be literally sorting the kids out in the morning, and then whilst they're having their breakfast doing 10 minutes of editing, and then I'm early on the school run, so then I'll do another 10 minutes, and then I'm always early, like I like to be on time, so I'll always have like a spare sort of few minutes. And I could be sometimes as short as I'm bathing the kids and I'm still sat there trying to just go through this video to it
I
is
get it.
it's not as glamorous. If
Yeah,
anyone thinks it's
no, I
glamorous,
get it.
absolutely not.
And that's what I wanted to talk to
Yeah.
you about. I mean, look, full respect to you, and I know with your courses and what you've done, but you've really worked hard
Mm.
to get there. And I think that's one thing that we could never come away from anybody, that, you've obviously got drive and ambition, to do all
Yes.
this. What is that drive and ambition for?
Um, I think for security, if I'm totally honest. So, we don't have like help with, parents or a big family or anything like that, or any financial help from family or anything. So I think it comes from not wanting to, I don't know, like, I guess wanting to give the kids everything that we can. Like, I know that sounds like really cliche thing to say, but it is. I want to be able to go on nice holidays. I want to take the kids on nice holidays, and whatever they need, I want them to be able to have. But I didn't have that. Didn't come from, you know, a really great background and things like that. And I just want my kids to experience differently. So I honestly think that my drive is, I don't ever want to be in that shitty position again. And I've been in it many a times in my life, and I will do everything I can to not go back there.
What's happened in your life there? If can I ask you that, Holly? It sounds like you've had some
Yeah.
tough moments.
I mean, you mean like family wise or
Yeah,
financially
just
or?
financial. I mean, you know, it's obviously yeah. You don't have to be too personal about
Yeah,
this,
I was
but
thinking,
yeah,
how deep are we going here?
yeah, no, absolutely. But you know, just how difficult has sometimes it been within.
Well, my husband's self-employed as well, so
Right. Okay. Yeah. So.
it there you go. So it's been hard, you know, like sometimes he could be really busy with work and have loads on, and then there can be a dip and nothing. You know, obviously COVID affected a lot of people. He wasn't really, he was sort of working, not, you know, that affected things for a lot of people. And I had a bit of time off with when the kids were young, so I wasn't able to work then. We spent a lot of money. We had some IVF treatment for a couple of years, so that cost us a lot of money. And then having three kids costs a lot as well, you know, themselves. So not having, I'm not saying that some people do, but some people are lucky enough to have that little bit of a comfort blanket, maybe like, oh, I don't know, mum, dad, could I borrow something? I've not had that, which I don't see as a bad thing. I would have loved to have had it, but it's that, like, obviously, like I said, I've used that for the drive. So I just, yeah, you have to keep going. And not being able to pay your bills, or thinking, shit, can I pay my rent next month? Or I've just got I don't know, a fine come through, and have I got enough money in the bank to pay it? You know, like when I was younger and I had my daughter when I was 20 years old, and I was literally living in a £10 overdraft most of the time. I lived month to month. And I remember specifically, I always remember going to the cash machine, and if I had zero in my bank account, I was happy, because it meant I had £10, so I could go into a £10 overdraft. And that, you know, I don't want to do that. I've experienced it, and it's shit. I know it's shit, and anyone that says it's not shit is lying. But it does show that you can work hard and just not give up. There's loads of times I don't want to edit a video. Do I want to do that? No. Do I want to sit on the sofa and be absolutely present with my kids 100% of the time? Yes, of course. But I give what I can to then give them the other stuff that I can as well.
Thank you for sharing that, and I get it. I get that completely, and you know, been there too. You know, these lives, and you have to work hard and hustle hard, and that's what
Yeah.
I really like actually about doing this as such, Holly. Because when we look into the world of socials and we're looking at to a short window of something, this is why I love doing the podcast, because it gives us a much clearer picture to the people behind
Yeah.
these, you know, 1 minute videos, and you know, and that realness and authenticity. And you know, when I hear people knocking people down in the industry who are maybe doing things because they've found a formula that's working for them, it may not be everybody's taste level.
Yeah.
That's great. That's cool. That's your thing. And if it's giving you an opportunity to give a life better, and actually, you know, you enjoy it. But I think the one thing I haven't really touched upon, and you said it at the very start, you really
Yeah.
like the industry. You like doing hair.
I love it.
Yeah. Why do
I
you love that
literally,
so much? I mean, if
I
you could
don't.
do it and make your fortune from just doing hair, and you know, and you didn't have socials there, I think you'd be quite a happy person.
Yeah, I still, a lot of my clients that I've done for like 15 years go, oh, Holly, you're not going to stop doing hair though, are you now? I'm like, no,
Yes.
because I love the personal interaction. At the end of the day, social media is just a phone. We're not, you know,
Yeah.
personally interacting with people. So for me, that's really, really important. And it sounds like ridiculous, but I love making them feel really good. And I think that's what I enjoy so much about the transformative colors, because it's such a big reaction. It's not just having your roots done or something like that. It's that, wow, oh my god, I feel so much better. I love seeing that. And I love that I can give that to someone. I think that's why I enjoy it so much. And if I got something wrong, or I could have done that bit better, like, it genuinely really affects me. Like,
So,
it will keep
how
me
are
up.
you improving then yourself as a as a hairstylist? You know,
Hmm.
because you teach, but I think to be a great teacher, you need to keep learning
Yeah.
because things change. How are you adapting and keep learning?
So I've, over the course of like being on social media, I have made some good friends, which has been really nice. I think hairdressing was sort of stereotyped as being a bit of a bitchy industry, and honestly, I've not experienced that yet since being online. So I think bouncing off other hairdresser and friends, actually in my education as well, like we have a lot of open conversations, and someone might say, oh, why do you use that, Holly? And I'll say, and they're like, oh, because I would use this. And I think, actually, that's a really good idea. I'm going to try that. And then we all sort of bounce off each other in ways like that. So I equally learn things off the people that come to learn off me, and I still go on education classes myself.
Who do you look to? Who's your go-tos?
Um, I actually watch. There's a guy called Kane that is in Australia. I love watching his stuff, but I think he's quite hyperactive, I would say. I don't know, I feel like that's why I like watching those sort of videos, draw me in a lot. And if there's anything that I'm not overly confident on, I will then watch the videos on that. Or just, if I'm honest, even if there's something that I think, oh, I think I'm okay at that, I'll go and on the class, because I think, how do they teach it?
Hmm.
So it's not always for me now the hair, it's how are they teaching.
Yeah, I like that. That's a really interesting point, isn't it? That we start to change our thinking, isn't it? It's not
Mm,
the you know how you're teaching, and I think that's really important part you just
yeah,
shared there. When you look back on your grid and you
yeah,
look back to where you are now, so I highly encourage you, the listener, or if you're watching this, to go and do this. Go and look back to your very first
yeah.
post
Oh my
and
God.
to see how much have evolved, not only at your social media, but actually, you know, what it is that you're sharing. How would you say you've evolved from that very early Holly?
Um, as a like personally, I have definitely become more confident in just not caring. Um, like, I never would have put my face to a camera before, because I'd be like, oh my God, no, like, I need to have a full face of makeup on, and I can't, does that sound silly? Or, you know, and I
No,
think
sounds
just
right.
being on in front of the camera all the time, I now just don't really care if I've got to
Well, I
do a
saw that with
video.
your teeth.
Yeah. No shame.
That's great, but that's being
I just,
authentic.
yeah, I just think that if you try and show up perfectly, like, perfect doesn't, to me, perfect doesn't exist. So if I show up every day with a full face of makeup on and super glam, one, that's not me. And two, it's because you're then opening, I believe, like, someone to say, oh yeah, but what does she look like with no makeup on? Or what about that? And I just think, if you show up, like, you know, some days I might have a bit on, or some days I might, you know, it doesn't give someone the opportunity to sort of call you out on it. I still get shitty comments, and there has been comments on the teeth and things, but I don't care.
Do
If you
you
know,
mean that though? Because
yeah,
some people
I
say
I
I
I
don't care,
think
but actually it
so.
hurts because you know nobody wants to be called out, do they? And nobody wants to
Yeah.
be told, "Well, you look dreadful here,"
Mm.
or "You sound terrible here." You come. Nobody wants that.
No.
So you know, do you have to be quite thick-skinned, or do you just? Is this something we have to accept when we put ourselves out there on social? That if you're going to get, it's almost like,
Mm.
how do I describe it? It's like serving sink out and it's going to go running off down the high street and every Tom, Dick and Harry, it's not going to be just your safe community that's going to
Yeah.
see it. It's going to be every Tom, Dick and Harry. And if I see a lot of people that are walking around with phones in their hands, they've all got access, most people,
Exactly.
which is
Yeah.
some pretty horrid people.
Mm.
How do you deal with that and protect yourself from actually that affecting maybe your overall well-being and confidence in yourself if you get something really spiteful?
So I don't think I have anything that's like really really bad. Um, I do get shitty comments, and honestly, like, some of them I might think, oh, dickhead, but that's literally the thought that go through my head.
That's a good
But
way of looking at it, though. I think you
yeah,
need that, don't you?
and I will always comment back and just be like, I don't know, and like, obviously I'm never gonna swear and be really horrible back, because I do think that's inappropriate, but I might call them a Karen or something, or like, thanks for your, I don't know, opinion, but I'm never directly rude. I'll try and be like a little bit
Yeah, that's
playful
cool.
rude. Sometimes it does give me that, yeah, like I said, that instant sort of whatever. But it's not always been like that. So I think I'm only like that now because I'm used to social media. I
Mm.
think, as in, like, I'm sure there's loads more that even I need to learn, and there may be loads of shit to come. But currently, I feel confident in it. But in the beginning, I would have probably signed out and come off it if it had got too much. You know,
What about your children coming into it?
it does make me nervous. It does. I think with Imogen being the teenager, because she's older, if she didn't want to come on and do any videos, she doesn't have to. Like, I'm not like, you have to be filmed. She's used to it now. I think in the beginning I was the cringy mum, like, what are you doing, mum? But now that she knows that I earn from it and that it's got bigger, to her, I think it's quite cool now. But if she didn't want to be on it, I wouldn't put her on it. And I know there's a lot of weird people out there, and people that might look at the kids, or people that get a bit
Mm.
nosy and stuff, and it does make me nervous. That's probably the one thing that I do feel a bit of a way about.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, I worry about it. There's a lot I worry about social, just because I think it's become such junk food now in our screen. I think it's brilliant. We all use it, but I just think it's getting lost in a lot of
yeah,
what they want. And a big part of what worries me about it is the image aspect of it.
mm,
Like, we all know that image sells,
yeah,
sex sells.
yeah,
That's just how it is. And it, if you go back to 90s, noughties, magazine front covers always had gorgeous looking women, men on the front cover. They seem to sell. I
yeah,
worry that socials is doing exactly the same. That actually, to have a lot of traction and success, you've got to have this real kind of gorgeous, almost dare I say, sex appeal with it.
mm.
And I'm not just referring to women here, I'm referring to men. So how important is your image? You are a cool looking lady. You've got the tats, you look great facially. Are you aware of that? And maybe are you aware of maybe that some people could be looking in on it for the wrong reasons?
I've never actually thought of it like that, if I'm honest. No, I don't feel like that. Um, I, I just, the reason I show up a lot of the time, like, I don't make the effort. I do just want to come on with no makeup and things like that because I don't have the time, but also just because that is me. I don't like to put filters on things and things like that, because I just
Yeah.
think you're giving a false impression. You're going back to the kid thing, that if someone's always showing up with a filter, like, that's not showing someone's just being normal. Um, I don't know. I think there's always going to be someone that has something to say. Um, with the tattoos, actually, it's quite interesting. I think a lot of people are always surprised about it. I actually hate them. Um,
That is
if
quite surprising when you've got a
I
body full of
know,
tattoos.
I know. I think I went through a fuck it era, a bit of a rebellious stage when I was younger, and just had loads in quite a short space of time. And now that I am older and have 3 children, for me, sometimes makes me feel uncomfortable being that mum at the school that everyone probably has that stereotype of, they're judging a book by its cover, right? Think that I look like a bit of a chav and whatever. That's how I think, and it does make me feel uncomfortable, but I can't do anything about it. And
Well, I
I've,
say it
I've,
looks
I've done it
good.
now.
I think it suits you.
Thanks.
Yeah, it looks good on you. So you should always just be comfortable in your skin.
Mm,
I think, who cares what people think anyway? It's probably
yeah.
jealousy a lot of the time. I think if they're that worried about how other
Mm.
people look, yeah, it's a question. I know. I don't know. I'm just seeing a lot of
I do agree
massive
with
views
you.
on very gorgeous people, and I'm not saying that. Great, good luck to them. I mean, it's no jealousy. But then there are people that are serving out really good content,
Mm.
like really good cool hair and really technically done, but it's not kind of reaching the same sort of
But
traction.
then
And
I don't
oh,
know if it's all about looks with that, though. I think that, has the video got everything it needs?
what does it
Has,
need then?
has it got the opening hook? Has it got the, I want to
What's an
see
opening
more?
hook?
Oh God, now you put me on the spot. What
Yeah,
what the fuck is this?
right.
I don't
Okay, so
know.
we got to like make people put the brakes straight on.
Yeah, absolutely. They say like I can't think of the actual attention span, but there's such a short. If you think how quickly you watch a video on TikTok, how quick do you swipe? For me, I'm like this.
Yeah.
So it has
It's
to
junk
be.
food. I call it
Yeah,
junk food. It is just junk food.
exactly. So
Really.
if you're watching a video and in the first 2 seconds, and I think that's probably over egging it, probably the first 1 second, you haven't got your attention, or they haven't got your attention, I think they're going to swipe. So that's
So you've
the
got
hook.
to do something that's almost shock element.
Yeah.
But
Well,
then
yeah,
can that
either.
create problems though? Because you're doing something that's shock. Maybe it's not real. So if for you know, like me and my podcast, fuck's sake, you should read about this with people. Be like, but that would be quite diminishing on my brand.
No, but not necessarily in that way. Not everything has to be like outrageous. It could be one that did well for me. So it's either opening it with what you're saying or some writing. So there was a consultation I did. She had box dye hair and asked for it to be ashy blonde. Well, most hairdressers know that's not going to happen in one appointment. And that was all that the hook was. It wasn't me saying it. It was just a caption
Just
at
a
the like a title almost. And someone's going to see that, and that's what's hooked them in.
So stop them with the brakes. What do we need next? So we've stopped them. We've got the hook. They're stopped on your video.
And then it can't be too pausey. So if someone's going, oh, I don't know, well, you swiped as soon as they said, you know, like things like that. It has to be given in a quicker way. I think that's more so probably on TikTok than Instagram, because TikTok is such a bingey platform. So it has to be quicker content, like give them what they want quicker, but keep sort of hooking them in, you know. So I see some videos where they're like, oh my God, wait till the end, you're never going to believe it. And you're like, well, what am I not going to believe at the end? And I might watch it for a few seconds and they still not giving me anything else, and I'm going to swipe. So maybe the content not being so long, but also edit it in a way that it's just not too boring.
Yep.
You know, like
Lots
no
of
one
quick
wants
transitions and
Yeah.
I get it. You've got to just get to that that point. But I bet as long as it's not devaluing what we're doing, I'm guessing, because at the end of the day, yeah, are we serving just the algorithm and we're serving the scroll for the sake of the views, but rather than the content?
Agree. I think I definitely agree with that. I think maybe just looking at the video and thinking, okay, what is the hook in this video? Why is this so? Whether it's like the best toner I've ever used.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it
Is,
depends
you know?
on your audience. I think,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's all about, you know, if somebody wants to have a beautiful hair color and come to your salon, they actually want to see the transformation, I'm guessing. And it's about what it is. Is it, yeah, are we producing the content for the views, which then gets us paid? And, you know, I think is probably where I think it's becoming a bit blurred. I can understand why people want to get paid. It's good. But actually, what is the end result of it? You know, I keep referring, it is junk food. You know, it's Instagram, TikTok, the stories are junk food. I think YouTube, if you go into more quality content, because at the end of the day, your quality content comes down to your courses.
Yeah.
That's not junk food. That's the fine dining, isn't it? That's why people come. And I'm guessing, is that where you want to lead people to with your videos? You want them to check out the bio above, the comments below, wherever you.
Yeah, of course. And to be honest, I want to open more opportunities. That's why I show up online. You know, I'd like to be able to achieve more goals that I have. And unfortunately, like we touched on in the beginning, that does happen from having a bigger platform. So I'm not where I would like to be yet, but I hope that if I carry on, those doors might be opened, or the opportunities might be opened.
What is it you want that to be? What?
I would actually love to get into more motivational things, directed, I guess, around social media, because I think where I come from a normal, you know, background, and being that normal person, that I just to help people know that you can do it and give ways that you can, and try and help people achieve things that they don't think they can achieve, which was me.
This is the next big part of our industry that I'm now starting to see. Industry influencers are then thinking they want to become then keynote speakers. They want to become motivational talkers, because it's a bit like the pop singer, isn't it? The band. you're in the pop band at the start, and then you kind of then want to be solo and be kind of a
Yeah,
cool solo artist,
yeah.
and then you
That's a
want to
very good
change the
way to
world,
compare it.
and you want to then you start to get into the politics because you have these fans, and
Yeah.
our interests grow and we evolve as people, don't we? And we
Hmm.
certainly see it with Sophia Hilton. That she started off as that hairdresser, but now it's
Yeah.
about motivational talking, and yeah, I think
Hmm.
that's great. But I think it's going to if is there a need for it there? Who are we talking? Who are we going to be doing? Because if you're going to be creating that kind of content, Holly, you got to
Hmm.
make sure it's going to be worth your while, time and energy, because you're entering
Of
into a
course,
new
but I
thing, isn't it?
think it's also about feeling fulfilled, though, that I think that is what is important to everyone, really. Like, yeah, of course, we only all work because we need to be paid. But there then does become that point where you're like, okay, I'm maybe comfortable where I'm at. However, do I feel fulfilled? And I don't know that that's for all of the people that you mentioned just then, but for me, I need and will chase the fulfillment
Oh,
in
I get
that.
that. I like it. I like that a lot. And I think as hairdressers, we probably are very drawn to motivational talking because
Mm.
naturally we are people that like to give. We like to help. We like to offer. We
Yeah.
like to support because that's what we do every time standing behind the chair. So
But also, I
naturally,
think
we are
that,
quite motivational people as we become
yeah.
more seasoned in our life.
But I think we always make excuses to ourselves as to why we couldn't do that though. Oh, but they probably have this or they probably have that, and that's why they've got it. And that for me is what I'm passionate about. Like, no, all of those things that you think are probably not true with me, but you still can. That's
Yeah.
where that would come from.
Yeah, it's smart stuff, Holly, and I think it's good. You can see your years of experience and yeah, how you're navigating the landscape. And just coming towards the end because it is
Hmm.
it's a conversation I'm enjoying lots and learning lots and I'm enjoying your honesty as well and just seeing the realness to you as well, which I
Thank you.
really love. Uh, but there is something as well, consultations. I know you're big on
Mm,
consultations, aren't you? And
yeah.
you do have something that you particularly are wanting to share with hairdressers, your form of consultation. Could you just maybe share a little bit about this?
Oh, sorry, what's that? Share
So
about
with
the.
consultations, so you're
Yeah.
delivering educations, the way that you deliver consultations.
Yeah, so I just think that most, well, in fact, all of the problems that I've had with a customer come from a lack of detailed consultation. Everything is in there, and if we haven't covered something enough, that's where the problem comes from. If we didn't quite ask them, how ashy did you want that? Do you see that picture as ashy or warm? We all see things in different ways, and we also always have a different understanding on things. So when I do a consultation for a new customer, we'll talk about it face to face, and then I actually send a written version to them, because going back to the learning, we all learn in different ways. So I might have spoken at them really fast and given them loads of information. They're like, okay, yeah, that's great. And then they might think, well, I don't even know what she's doing to my hair. So then they might be better to read that and think, oh, okay, yeah, she's doing that because that's going to give me that. So I just think having it broken down so much, there's just no room for error unless the technique is fucked up, because you've covered the tone, you've covered the cut, you've covered the condition, the products, the everything, all the possible outcomes, um, that you can't really get it wrong if you know the technique.
Communication
Yeah.
is the key to all of this, isn't it? You've got to be
Hmm.
good at communicating. So thank you so much for coming on, Holly. Before we go, I just want to shout out. There will be people that will want to come and see your work. We'll put the links into the
Thank
show notes,
you.
by the way, so I don't have to test Holly on the
Yeah.
handles again. But in the education, you talk about you do these monthly. Is the best way to learn about this is that again to just come onto your socials and check out your links all on there?
Yeah, so the links for the education, they're all on. If they're on the mailing list, they'll always get them released to them first. But I'll always post if there is a new education date. I am actually going to be releasing something new, which will be online, but I'm going to be releasing a social media course, which is going to
Okay.
have everything in there from how I started, how I edit, how I do all of it, and everything that I know and have learned about social media, I'm gonna put in
Yeah.
there to try and help other people.
Fantastic. Who is your target audience? Who do you find are the people that like to come to you?
Hairdressers, I think.
Yeah,
for
real
that the social.
hairdressers, real hairdressers. Is it the everyday hairdresser? Who is that type of hairdresser who comes to you?
I think it's that, yeah, the everyday hairdressers. Or do you know what? I get a lot of the people that have just started working for themselves and are like, shit, how do I do this? What am I
That's right.
doing? How do
Yeah,
you do it? And I know a lot of people are interested in social media because it was such a quick growth. And that's why, like, that's what I think a lot of them come to learn as well. And that's why I thought, I'm gonna put a whole course on it.
I'm going to ask you that as well. I forgot to ask you it, and I must ask you it. What
Go
would you
on.
say to people that said you would buy followers or buy likes, buy attraction?
What would I say to them?
Yeah, have you ever done that?
Yes, I would say they're absolutely right. I did. And I did that in the beginning on, I don't actually think you can do it on TikTok. I'm not sure, but I have never done it on TikTok. I don't think you can. On Instagram, I did do it at the start, and it was the worst thing I could have done because I did it because it looked good and I didn't know how to build it. So I'm just going to buy them. Everyone must buy them. I'll buy them. And then I had to backtrack a lot because of the algorithm. It does something where it knows that they're not interactive followers. So I had to go back and delete all of them, which was a good few thousand, and then start from scratch again. And if I hadn't have done that, then maybe it wouldn't have taken me so long to build on Instagram. But yeah, I'm out of that now, and I did do it, but it's
Yeah,
not
well,
the way.
thank you.
It's not the
And
way
then
to go.
well, there's you and many. I mean, we can see it
Yes.
all. I mean, you don't, you only have to take a quick look, and you
Yeah.
can work. So thank you for being honest on that. And I think it's important for people. Don't get caught up in it. Don't
No.
get. It's not going to change your life. You know, you want authentic people. I'd rather have 10 people that are just
Agree.
part of my community that are really interested in what I'm doing, and that's why we have How to Cut It platform, because
Yeah.
it's a smaller group. People are more naturally engaged. But look, Holly, it has been a great, insightful conversation. I've been really glad that I've been connected up to you, and I've learned a lot from you. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned from you is you're authentic, and you're
Thank
just an everyday person who's working really hard to make life better for your family, and
you.
that
Yeah.
you can only respect, and that's what we do. But keeping a smile on our face and making sure that you
Try.
enjoy it.
Not
Yeah,
doing it too
well, it's
seriously.
not. Yeah, not doing it, and making sure that you don't reach burnout, because that can happen.
Yeah.
Last thought. What would you like us to just maybe remember this conversation of today? Is there something that you think, yeah, I'd like people to just remember that about me from what we talked about here?
Um, I I don't know really. Good question. Just that I'm just normal, and that if I can do it, everyone else can. Like, these social media platforms are free after all, and they can literally change your life. So if anyone can use me as if I can be an inspiration at all to someone, like, it literally can be done. So I just would encourage as many people as possible to just give it a go and stick with it. It doesn't happen overnight, but it will happen if you stick with it.
Lovely. Well, that's a great way to finish. So thank you so much for joining us
Thank you,
on the How
Dom.
to Cut It podcast.
Thank
Let
you.
me, absolute pleasure. Let me